Hello and welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name is Alexi and I'm your host. And I'm always looking for great people to interview. And today we have a very special guest, Liz Carter. Hey, Liz, how you going?
Hey, Alexei, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. Now, Liz is an expert in, out of all things, AI chatbots. So, Liz, look, this may be a bit of a change for some people. And look, we've got some listeners coming from traditional background, mum and dad's type businesses. And I think this could really take things to another level. So I don't want to spoil this. Tell us about your journey. How did you get into this whole thing? Where did you start and why AI chatbots?
Yeah, so I moved to Australia about 6 years ago. And before I made the move, I decided I had to make a choice around my career. I was an accountant back in Romania and I wanted to do something else. So at that point, I decided to start an online fitness business, which I did. I started in Romania and I was coaching women in Australia.
Oh, wow.
So yes. So at that point, I had also joined a mastermind and I was told in that mastermind to go learn how to build chatbots and start driving chatbot traffic to sell my coaching program, which I did. I signed up for a platform called ManyChat in 2016. I learned the basics, I learned some automation, and I did that for a couple of years. And it was great. I loved doing that. Eventually, I ended up closing down that business and I got a job in the Microsoft space. So it was a bit of a gray area there career-wise. But then end of 2019, I quit my job and I wanted to still have my online business. And that's when I made the decision that looking back at all the things that I'd tried, I liked geeking out into building chatbots, the logic behind it, the conditional logic. So I opened the chatbot agency and I started going after local businesses. I was pitching them, building chatbots for them. And it was taking off at the point where COVID hit. So they went out of business. I went out of business. And that's when that was in 2020, like May 2020. And that's when I went back to the drawing board. I bought a course online around building chatbots, and the course was also mentioning AI. And I didn't mention, but I was building chatbots at that time behind Facebook Messenger. So I was building Facebook Messenger automation. Mm-hmm. So I felt AI was going to be something like nobody was doing it. It was so new that I was even trying to sell it and nobody understood. They didn't even understand what the chatbot was, but AI was just, I was losing people.
Well, let's clarify that because for many listeners, people would not know what a chatbot is. So before we jump into the whole AI chatbot, tell us what a chatbot is and what it does.
Great question. So the chatbot is, think of a rule-based chatbot where you build some conditional logic. If people say this, then send them this. If they say the other one, it's like a rule-based chatbot based on conditional logic. And it can get highly complex or you can keep it simple. That's just the basic automation. And that's what I did for a long time. Now, where AI steps in, think of, when you go into a chatbot, even on a website or Instagram DM, you're limited to tapping buttons back and forth. However, if you type something, a question, how much is shipping to Australia, for example, how long does it take? It's going to stop most likely because it's not going to understand. Mm-hmm. This is where AI steps in, where you take a large amount of data where you collect of people asking questions. It's a you call it proprietary data that we collect at the point where we deploy a chatbot, and we see, all right, these are all of the questions that people ask in the bot, and we collect it for a few months, 3 to 4 months, so we have enough data. And then after 3 months, for example, we go back to it and we say, all right, what are the main topics people ask questions about, and how we can categorize those topics into, let's say, buckets. Mm-hmm. So one may be about pricing, one may be how does this product work, how is shipping, order tracking, and let's say we get 10 topics out of this. Then how AI works, and we've been using so far Google's AI, which is Dialogflow. How AI works is we build 10 topics, and then we take each of those training phrases that people have asked, and we add it to each topic. And the more training phrases we give it, the better it gets at understanding that particular intent or topic. So at some point when you've given it enough data, even if you go in and misspell or write messy, it's going to understand what you're asking and it's going to reply in context. That's basically AI.
So basically, where a traditional chatbot was more conditional logic, where you'd probably preload information based to your frequently asked questions or something like that. Here you are essentially training the chatbot to understand the different patterns of communication. Then you can categorize it across the different sections. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and how does this specifically help the business? I mean, I understand this may be a very broad question, but I do see those chatbots popping up every now and again, certain websites. And look, on some websites, I must say I absolutely hate them because you click on it, it can't give you the answer. You can't find contact buttons, really annoying and irritating.
Yep.
But on other websites, you are talking to a real person, or at least you feel like that. So
yep.
How does that help businesses? I mean, if we're talking about, like, let's say an online store or your mom and dad's, let's say, tradie type business, how can that help?
Well, think about all of these online businesses also have an online presence. So we're not necessarily talking about chatbots on websites, although Instagram DM and Facebook Messenger can fire from a website, but we're mainly talking about automations behind these two social channels, Instagram DM and Facebook Messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And it can get a lot more complex. So for example, it's not just people going to DM the page, like straight up, because maybe not many people go to DM. But you have many other ways of pulling people into a chat funnel, which is what we call it. So let's say you put up a story and you tell them, hey, DM us the word quiz. When they type quiz and they send it, an automated conversation starts. And the chatbot, and this is just purely automation. It's not AI, there's nothing, but it does a fantastic job if it's built correctly. So let's say somebody replies to a story, quiz, the chatbot takes over, asks, let's say, 7 questions, understands the interests, and then based on those interests is able to recommend something that's relevant for that user. And maybe at the same time, give them a coupon that expires maybe in 24 hours and get them to purchase. And if you want to take it even further, even build in the sales logic for this chatbot to, if this user has been presented with an offer and they haven't purchased in the next 24 hours or 48 hours, is going to attempt to start the conversation and figure out why they're not buying. Maybe they need more value, maybe they have a question, maybe whatever it is going to try to solve it and lead them to a sale.
Yeah. Well, guys, if you listen to this and this has gone over your head, let me just try to clarify this a little bit for you. So essentially what you can use a chatbot for is to actually qualify a lead further, and quiz is obviously doing is one of the ways to do it. If you ask people certain ways, you actually warm that person up and qualify them along the way, which can then bring them to a point of sale or a conversation that is more transactional. And then from there, what Liz was saying, you could actually have a coupon that would specifically connect to that purchase, and that would have an expiry date to create extra urgency. I think that's very smart.
And that's just one of the ways. For example, let's imagine you run Facebook ads, right? And a lot of online, especially if you're selling a physical product, but not necessarily, you may sell a course or something else, you may get a lot of comments. Like we have clients that get hundreds and thousands of comments on their ads that go unanswered. So now think about somebody now comments on your Facebook ad and they instantly get a DM sent that very second. And the chatbot says, hey, Alexei, thanks for commenting on our ad. How can I help you? And then they have a few different options. Learn more about the product, claim a discount, check where your order is, because a lot of times somebody comments, where's my order? And that's how you give people instant value, potentially drive some sales, maybe collect their email address to start nurturing them afterwards.
Yeah.
There are many examples.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, in our experience, and for those of you who may not know, I run a digital marketing agency called Your Easy Up Solutions. We do recommend a lot of the small businesses to have a little messenger box on their website that's connected to Facebook. So Liz calls this DM, direct message. And what I like about it specifically, as opposed to using some off-the-shelf chatbot products, is that the moment the person starts typing, you actually get to see their real name from their profile. And that's really cool, because if a person goes and starts filling out a Chatbox, application form, typically they can put whatever they want in there. But if you can then connect this automation to it, I can think of multiple scenarios as to how you can actually qualify and nurture that contact into a funnel. Okay.
Absolutely. And then from here is, when you've captured their first name, last name, now the next step is, this is something very new that Facebook has been pushing in the last year or so, is you can request their permission to broadcast to them via DMs. So just think of email list, SMS list, permission-based marketing. It's the same via DMs right now. So people can, at the point where they start, just like you said, they start a conversation on with your website widget. They click in Messenger, and then you ask, hey, by the way, would you like me to notify you of Black Friday, for example? They say yes. Past that point, you can broadcast to that entire list. Just like you send an email blast, SMS blast, you do the same with Instagram and Facebook DMs.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. I need to definitely look into it. We find that email marketing is definitely one of the ways that works quite well, specifically for e-com. But this, you could just have given me $1 million idea here. Thanks very much, Liz.
Yep. Not many are doing it, so jump on it.
Okay, great. Well, can you tell us about some of the successful projects that you worked on? I found on your website you work with some gyms and spas, and look, maybe that's not as current as what you're doing right now, but I just want our listeners to understand a little bit of the work that you've done and sort of connect it to the tangible results. That's all.
Yeah, so the most of the work that we've done in the last 3 years has been for DTC brands like Snow Teeth Whitening, Obvi, Vegamore, Sugar Bear Hair, the bigger names, but at the same time, smaller brands that want to learn the technology. And that's kind of where we've been focusing lately because of the demand. All of these online businesses want to learn the skill, pretty much take the shortcut of deploying this technology in-house and managing it in-house. Because just like I said, you build, for example, you build the subscribers list and you have all of these ideas, your marketing calendar changes from month to month, and you want to push something different, build something different, broadcast to these people, re-engage them, sell your products, all sorts of things. And in terms of results, like we've done some pretty crazy stuff, like even driving up to over 3K per day just through DMs organically. And when you think of 3K per day, this is money that would have been left on the table because there was no automation in place. We've had clients who literally had their DMs closed. Wow. So when we started working with them, it was overwhelming to handle them because there were too many DMs and they were just closed. So that was just low-hanging fruit where we came in, built some basic automation, taught them how to do it, and then they started monetizing on it. And not just monetizing, but just giving these people instant value, just getting something from the brand that they like, that they follow, whether it's a lead magnet, a tutorial, an educational sequence, capturing their email, all sorts of things that they can do with this. And
are you talking about like e-com businesses when it comes to like $3,000 a day, or is this like a transactional business?
No, e-com, just because we've only worked with e-com. However, now we're getting a lot of traction and inquiries from all sorts of businesses because it does work with any business. If you think about it, it's just everybody is on Instagram, everybody is on Facebook, and they could leverage this starting tomorrow.
Well, I think, it's really about understanding where your target market is, and Instagram and Facebook is definitely the mature market with money. If you would have started this sort of topic 10 years ago, people would tell you, what's the point of marketing to people on Facebook and Instagram? They're having a play with it. They're not really ready to pull out their wallet and buy, and look what's happened. So absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Any predictions about this new technology or new socials network that Meta has pulled out? The Twitter-like?
Oh, that's very interesting. I bet they're going to, because Meta has been pushing conversational marketing for a long time. 2016, they opened Messenger marketing. That was the guinea pig. They tested a lot of stuff. Some worked, some didn't. They adjusted quickly. Now Instagram DM is the, let's say, optimized version of what they launched in Messenger. They also have WhatsApp automation. I bet this is going to be soon available for Threads as well.
Wow. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Facebook obviously owns WhatsApp, and you may be wondering sometimes, you may be having certain conversations and suddenly ads start popping up. Well, it's because they share information and the engine uses that same data point in order to find relevant content for you when it comes to advertising. In terms of the listening side of things, I found that it was quite interesting that WhatsApp and Messenger both had turns at listening to your voice. And these are the ones that are really spying on you. So in case if you're talking about a Mercedes or a Lexus or something, and suddenly those ads start showing everywhere, well, that's where that's coming from. So yeah, I thought I'd just squeeze that in here. Now, Liz, what are your predictions about all this stuff? I mean, where is this whole future going? Surely last year, the chat GPT was an absolute bomb. And obviously a lot of things using that technology as an engine right now. No doubt some of the tools you are using probably uses that as well. What's your prediction, and what do you think is going to happen to the job market, most importantly, as a result of all this?
It's funny because a lot of people are scared that AI is going to take over their jobs. But in my prediction initially is that not AI is going to take their job, but a human who learns how to use AI, that human is going to take their job. So we're at the point where whether we like it or not, we have to take on AI in as many areas of our lives as possible, because it's here to stay. There is no way this technology is going to be reversed or it's going away. It's just going to get better and more accurate with time. And it's going to plug into also everyday life, business. And I think the idea here is that we take it as it comes and we make as much use of it as we possibly can, because there is no way around it at this point.
Yeah, I would probably agree, because I find that people are always looking for easier ways to do things. At the same time, the customer service, the human touch is often the one thing that others are looking for. And I don't know about you, but all the automations, sometimes they could be really good at qualifying people, getting them to a certain point. But when it comes to problem solving, you still really want to be speaking to a decision maker.
And you make a great point. With the chatbots that we build on Instagram DM and Facebook Messenger, we're not talking about 100% automation. There's always a 15% that the chatbot will not be able to handle. And that's where we build certain bot to human handovers, where if somebody gets stuck in or asks a question the bot cannot handle, it's immediately transitioned and handed over to a human that is going to be notified instantly. They will step in. At the same time, the user is going to be set the expectations. Hey, I'm connecting you to my human team. It's going to take them about an hour to get back to you. In the meantime, you can continue browsing through the chatbot or leave the chat.
Great.
Yeah.
You've mentioned that you're obviously doing training, and I understand that's the focus of your business right now. Can you tell us more about what it is that you do in terms of training and who this actual training is for?
So for a long time, probably since 2019 until early this year, we only offered a done-for-you service. We went in and we built it out, deployed it, optimized it, and then scaled it, and then handed over as a project. Now, what happened was that I got a lot of queries on my sales calls, talking to leads around training their in-house team on how to use the technology. And we didn't have anything in place at that point. At the same time, I've had clients we finished projects for come back to us asking for tweaks, update, because they didn't know how to maybe change some copy here and there. So that led me to understand that the market now wants to learn the technology, especially those ones who are ahead of the curve. And they understand that sooner or later, this is here to stay. We have Instagram, Facebook, they're not going anywhere, which means DM automation is just going to take over. So we've pivoted towards becoming an educational piece for these businesses, where they join our program, they get access to our internal chatbot training, and we work one-on-one with them, not only to deploy a chatbot system with them together, but teach them how to do it, like how to think in terms of strategy. We're going to build a strategy initially for them, but as we build it and we work with them, they're going to learn the thought process. They're also going to learn the tech behind it, the technology. They will have access to a dedicated account manager, like a chatbot developer, that will answer any questions they have, help them troubleshoot, test, scale, optimize. And past the point of 4 months, which is what the program length is currently, they should be able to do this on their own and have an in-house team that handles chatbot marketing.
That sounds amazing. So where can people go to find out more about this? Is there a website, or how can they contact you about it?
Yes, our website is getgrowai.com, or they can reach out to me via LinkedIn or Twitter. If they look up Liziana Carter, they're going to find me.
No worries. I'll make sure to include the links at the bottom of this recording. And look, we are also on YouTube as well. I'm recording this through video as well, just to make sure you got a bit of a visual. But I do know that quite a few people prefer to listen to our podcast using Spotify and so on. I don't blame you guys. I like to listen to things and drive. But I'm pretty sure if you get a chance to watch this, you'll probably connect with Liz a little bit more. She's a bubbly individual. And you're located on the Gold Coast, right?
I am, yes.
So why Gold Coast out of all places?
Why not?
Well, it's a beautiful place. I used to live there back a while ago, but to be honest, it's way too laid back for me. So I don't know how you managed to work there.
Oh, look, I'm literally on the beach. Like I'm right on the beach. It's a funny story. I saw a photo of Surfer's Paradise back in 2015 and on Google, and that was it. So obviously that was not it. It was a long process to get the visa and everything, but I love it. I wouldn't move anywhere anytime soon.
Just recently, I watched the Arnold documentary, and it was quite interesting. I was talking about the whole goal setting and getting there as well. And he used images like photos of bodybuilders and places to actually get somewhere. It was quite fascinating. It's quite fresh in my mind because I literally just finished watching it a couple of days ago. Have you seen it?
Which one?
It's called Arnold. It's on Netflix.
Oh, Arnold. Yeah, it has 3 episodes. I saw it.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
Amazing. I loved it. Yes.
Yeah. So I like the whole idea about seeing the goal, seeing Surface Paradise and making it happen. That's amazing.
It's a great story.
All right. Well, one little thing I've introduced to my podcast when I do interviews is called Rapid Fire. This is where I ask you a quick question and I just want a quick answer. Are you ready?
Go for it.
All right. What's your favorite personal development book?
Oh, it's a tricky one. But I wouldn't say personal development. I read biographies, and I loved Elon Musk's. I loved it a lot. I read it twice.
Okay. Well, you pretty much picked on my next question. Who, in your opinion, is the most successful businessman in the world, or woman?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
I think he's brilliant. He's a genius.
Great. Last question. Do you prefer Teslas or are you into European cars?
Oh, I'm going after a Tesla.
Excellent. All right. Well, Liz, thanks very much for finding the time. Hopefully the listeners have learned a lot about what you do. And look, AI chatbots is such a huge topic. I think you guys definitely need to research this to understand how it can complement your business. I think if you can automate at least 20% of what you do from that day-to-day monotony, you guys will be making some serious dollars, especially if you're in the e-com space where a lot of things are already automated. Definitely check out Liz's profile. I'll put it in the links under my podcast descriptions, and I look forward to connecting to you in the future. And if you found this episode interesting, make sure you share it with your friends, colleagues, or anyone else you may find interesting. Thanks for your time, Liz.
Thank you, Alexei. Speak soon.
Chat to you soon. Bye-bye.